Welcome to Coaching the Brave podcast with Yvonne Chase. I am Yvonne Chase, and I am here to provide you positivity and possibility because hope and community is something that we all strive for and we all really need. So enjoy and sit back. I am so thankful that you are here another week because what we're going to be discussing here is just so many fun people who are not only part of the military community, but who are also part of the civilian community and who have things to offer for the military. And it's not only about interviews and chatting together, but it's also about experiences of coaching and meditations and just fun little quirky things that come to mind that I just want to share with you. And I hope that they bring you a light at the end of the day to take with you to the rest of the week. And I hope you really enjoy. Without further ado, let's get into it. Well, today we have a very special guest with us, a professional who also is a military spouse. And this is why I love sharing this that are professionals. And there's so many of us that are moms on top of being a military spouse or dads or parents that really enjoy having that balance, work-life balance, and are able to handle all of that comes with that. Now, this spouse is very special because she is an activist for getting down to how military spouses every day goes. She is in the middle of writing a book and just getting research out there. And if you are interested in doing some research with her, I have all of her information in the show notes. So just go down there after you hear the podcast and follow her and understand like where she's coming from and what her inspiration is for making this book for all of you. Here's a little bit more about her. She has been a military spouse for over 30 years. They were active before they went into the National Guard and finally into the reserves. The best and meaningful experiences were when she and her family merged during deployment. It was tough, but it was a phase during which they all grew the most and knew what set her apart from others. Over the years, she and her family were number one on the priority, and then her career. And that is very much reflected in our conversation today. So I hope you enjoy, and please follow and share this podcast with those who you feel might need this inspiration. Thank you so much. And here we go. All right. Thank you so much for listening another week with me with the Coaching the Brave podcast with Yvonne Chase. I am your host, Yvonne Chase, and I have Zulbiye Jorgensen here with me today. We're going to be talking about awesome stuff. So I'm really excited to have her here with you all as a beautiful resource and an experienced military spouse as well. How are you doing today, Zulbiye?
Great. Thanks, Yvonne. I am so excited to be here and hopefully be able to share some of my experiences that may or may not be helpful, but I sure hope that I can help someone out there.
Absolutely. Whoever it's meant to touch, it's meant for them. Absolutely. That's definitely the intention, right?
That's right.
Beautiful. So, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, your life in the military, introduce yourself a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. I'm Zulbiye Jorgensen. I'm a mother first and a military spouse and also work outside the house as well. So I have two children. They're adults now, and they definitely live the military life alongside myself and my husband. I became a military spouse in 1989 is when I met my husband, but we got married in 1991. So 1989 is a very historical year for me because I grew up in Germany in a Turkish family, met my husband in Germany who was stationed in Fulda, Germany, and that's the year the wall came down, the Berlin Wall, which
Right.
many of your audiences are so young they probably don't remember what that is or know about it. But that's when Germany literally was divided into two countries, and then lots of great events happened and enabled people to be strong enough to take down the barriers. And that's a very historical moment I still remember, and it was beautiful to be part of that and still be there. So after I married my husband, we moved around with the military a little bit, but then eventually, after 7.5 years, nearly 8 years of active duty, we settled in South Dakota, where my husband is from. And my husband went to school at South Dakota State University and was in the National Guard. And we were able to have sort of a home base and raise our children. And then I also went to school as well, making sure that I got a degree and was able to provide for my family in addition to what my husband was able to do for us. And then eventually got recruited by Mayo Clinic and have been there since then. So 18 years. And my children are grown ups and they're doing their own thing right now. So, and my husband and I will live in Scottsdale, Arizona. And Alan, my husband, is still in the military, in the reserves now. So he went from active duty to National Guard, then to Army Reserves. And yeah, that's our history, I guess, and that's our life. And he's been in for 32 years now. And I don't think we would want it any other way. So it has brought a lot of joy and experiences and growth opportunities for us.
Oh my goodness. That thank you so much. You just touched my heart. That's just so beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow. So being in an historical event in Germany, something that has been was such a wave of emotion and experience for other families, and you being able to have that openness for that to happen, and then meeting your spouse, meeting your husband, and you even changing your whole life and having that experience, and then just being able to branch out from there and choose to have a glorious experience. Like that is just so beautiful. And being so, you know, emotionally successful as well.
Yeah,
Like,
it's so important.
yeah, absolutely. And what branch of you said the National Guard for what
So
branch?
yeah, my husband is in the army. So
Army.
that's all we know. So if I use any terms and maybe your audience does not recognize some of those, it's because of that. So I apologize in advance, but I'm pretty good about not using those terms. So I'll
Me
try my
too.
best. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like we wanna kind of steer away from that, right?
exactly. That,
Too many acronyms.
yes, that's for sure.
Yeah, and what's funny is that I've been able to interview a lot of army and only a little handful of other branches so far because I just started with my podcast. But I mean, so far it's been an eye opener because all I know is army active duty. So I'm
Mhm.
learning so much about the reserves and the National Guard now, and it's great because I haven't heard of one negative yet about them, the National Guard or the Reserve. It's all been positive experience and a growth opportunity for the soldier and the spouse. So that's
Absolutely.
really interesting. Yeah. So, what is an experience that impacted your life in the military in a life shifting way?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I will have to say it's deployments. And the one that comes particularly to my mind is the first one that we experienced together as a family, and that was in 2003, January of 2003. It was a very long deployment, 14 and a half months. It was at the beginning of the Iraqi in Operation Iraqi Freedom, I believe is the term. And so Alan was deployed along with his transportation unit, National Guard unit in South Dakota to Iraq. So that was very challenging. So being in the National Guard is a little different than being in the active duty, where you sort of have your military um, families nearby in a
Right.
base or right
Mhm.
outside a base, very close by. So you have a strong community available at your reach. In the National Guard, being South Dakota, for example, you could be in a lot of different towns, cities, and rural areas. And the area that we lived in was a tiny, tiny, tiny town of 300 people, and the difficulty there is the dynamic of community in small towns like the one we lived in is if you're not a native, you're less likely to be accepted.
Mm.
And so you have to be very creative to build your network. And it's like, and then really identify what works, what doesn't work, so you don't waste your time with
Yeah,
certain individuals trying to,
I love
build
that.
that network. So you become very quickly in terms of like identifying people who's going to be really reliable, who's going to be trustworthy, and so and what you have in common with people. So that was probably the challenge there. So our children were 8 and 2, so very small children, and I was at the time actually working on my master's program and was not working full time, just part time for the school. I was teaching a class here and there. So, and my family is in Germany and Turkey. So I don't have family close to South Dakota, other than my husband's family. But that's probably a topic for another podcast. Um, so we managed it, and the promise that I made myself there is because you have to look at life a little differently. You are the only person in your children's life, so you have to be the strongest person for them. And they go through a lot of emotional changes, especially the 8-year old, because they can hear things, and you have to really manage their expectation, make sure that you share truthful information. So the promise that I made myself is I'm going to take care of myself, because if I don't take care of myself, I cannot function and be a great mom for my children. So that means I really watched my nutrition, and luckily the way I was raised made it very simple because I already had some of those habits, healthy habits, that I just basically converted to that immediately. Eating vegetables, fruits, not so many processed things, and just the basic. Lots of cooking, homemade cooking, and things like that. And then exercise is key, right? So again, having small children, it's not like you can run to the gym. It's really incorporating the kids, one on the bike, the other one
Yeah.
in the stroller, and here we go. So that type of exercise, you can just kind of work that into your schedule, which is immensely important. And exercise is not so much, oh, I want to lose weight or I want to be skinny. It's really, I want to feel healthy.
Right.
That's exactly the focus there. And then the mental health piece. So what you want to do, what I did there is really cut out any negativity that I could cut out. So that's
Yes.
including news, that's including people sometimes, and not in a rude way, but you don't have to be around negativity if you don't choose to. And it's okay to, to give you that permission, give yourself that permission not to be around that. So with all of those various changes, we were able to go through that deployment, and I have to say, what a growth opportunity. And of course, there were other deployments that followed, which prepared us for this. But really, it was incredibly difficult because communication systems were not set up like the way they are now. And we did not know where Alan was for 3 months or so. And it was very challenging, but yet at the same time, it's really a growth opportunity for myself, my children, and Alan. I think it was just overall very life changing event.
Wow, I can only imagine that. That was, yeah, right in the millennia, right there. It
Mhm.
just the start of it right after 9/11, and that's when all of that happened. And for you to have this already established mentality of I need to focus on my health so that I could be here and be a stability for my children. I mean, that's something that I didn't click until just 3 years ago, maybe. And who knows, maybe we were the same age, but
Yeah,
maybe you were younger too, and that's not a mentality that we have, as at all as young parents. And for you to have that mentality of even I need to eat healthy, I need to move with my children, and even to not feel that stuckness of I have kids, I can't go to the gym.
exactly.
That mind shift of I'm going to do this with my kids. This is okay.
Yeah, it's those great skills that military spouses build along the way, the
Yeah.
flexibility, creative problem solving.
Yes.
I think it's all of those things, and they are problems, right? Generally, when your husband leaves or your spouse leaves, everything starts breaking down, and I don't know
I
why.
know.
So you really have to be strong and really try to help yourself and and just give yourself the permission to reach out to others who maybe know something more than yourself and learn from them, or just hire help too. I mean, if that's an opportunity that you can do. So absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's just amazing that, you were able to have that in that time where even the mental, like you were saying, you can choose to not be in a environment that is negative, and even to not listen to the news, especially at that heat of the moment. It was hard not to. You knew that wasn't healthy for you, and you were able to just say, I'm just not going to be there. That is something that our councils do tell us nowadays and before. Don't watch the news, especially when your spouse is gone.
So
Just
true.
avoid it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so true.
Thankfully he came back. I'm hearing that he's been in now for
32. Yeah, it'll be
32.
33 in August, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. And I also heard you say that you got your master's in that time as well. So tell me a little bit about your experience fulfilling your career and your degrees while still being a military spouse.
Yeah, so I like to start with the great benefit of being a military spouse. The GI Bill it can be stretched, and especially at the time when I was going through getting my degree, which was latter part of 1990s, early 2000. So we were able to actually use some of it for me as well, in addition to what Alan used for himself. And of course, in addition to that, there are scholarships within the schools that you can also apply. There were lots of great people that were looking out for me. So a great support system with the instructors and professors that were also looking out for me to succeed. The reason I went, I was not going to go to college. I grew up in Germany. There were lots of things that people have in Germany that we just get just being there in Germany and that we don't get in the US. We have to work for those things, such as healthcare is as part of, they have a government system social system that offers everyone a healthcare. So that was a big thing. And that's a necessity. So I realized when we moved to South Dakota, when you leave the military, I think at this point you can still get TRICARE, but it's such a humongous amount of money that you pay that we could not afford the premiums for that. And I realized very quickly in South Dakota, we were not going to get health care insurance. And we had a 2 year old. Nicholas was 2 years old at that time. In South Dakota, you have to be extremely poor and then you qualify and you don't work, which to me is insane because you want to work and
Yeah.
provide. So, so to me, that was not acceptable. And just having a high school diploma doesn't get you far. So I was not able to get a job with benefits, obviously. And my husband was going to school full time. So we didn't have health insurance for a couple of years or so until I was able to land a job. So I promised myself I'm going back to school.
Yeah.
So that is the reason why I went back to school, get a degree, and I started taking classes here and there. And I realized, wow, I really love school. So I think I'm just going to keep going. And I think what was so important about that, one, you meet a lot of people, right?
Yes.
Lots of people with different types of backgrounds in a university environment. So I think that was very encouraging. Plus, professors, they had lots of different backgrounds from a lot of different areas in the US or even internationally. And then, of course, I just loved learning, and that growth mindset is still with me today. And so I kept going, and I finished my master's degree in economics. Actually, was going to get my PhD and then teach.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
but then at that point, I had two kids, and it didn't seem like it was the right thing to do for me at the time. So I was recruited by Mayo Clinic right after I graduated, and I just went to work thinking, well, I'll work a couple of years and see, and then maybe apply to a PhD program and then go that way. But I really like working. I like the fact because you still can, in an academic organization like Mayo Clinic, you have the opportunity to continuously learn, which is
Mhm.
it's an academic organization, plus work and gather, have that experience of providing to the mission. And where I started there is in marketing research, marketing, where in the laboratory services, which is actually the for profit arm of Mayo Clinic, which is the biggest differentiator for that company, which a lot of people don't even know about. Laboratory services and laboratory is so important to diagnosing patients with complex diseases. So,
Absolutely.
love that. And then from there, moved into project management, built project management office in one department at Mayo Clinic, and then moved into the digital solution creation with product teams, and now still there, where we're actually creating telemedicine solutions in a variety of different ways, connecting people, patients, the right care team, connecting individuals who are looking for care in a way that's much more efficient. So we're building that infrastructure so we can actually use artificial intelligence to
Yes.
really respond to the needs of the individual. So I really love that job at this point, and probably will stay there for a while, as long as I still have fun. So that's kind of like my the reason why I went to school, and then where I started in terms of career progression and where I'm at now. So.
Amazing. Wow, you thank you for your work as well as your husband. Thank you. You're at the forefront. You're pioneering this new realm of medicine with AI and, telemedicine and all of that. And I hear the commercials, and I understand where you're going with this, and it's really fascinating. And I'm glad that you're having fun with it. That's the best part
Yeah,
of having
absolutely.
a career that you can have fun with.
Absolutely.
And you did mention that you wanted to teach and get your PhD in the past. How do you believe being a career driven woman has impacted your children?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I grew up in a Turkish family in Germany. And so my parents, we sort of escaped poverty in Turkey and immigrated to Germany. So in terms of education and work is in our DNA. So that's always been the case for me. And that's probably why I still have that growth mindset. Yes, I have a job, but I continuously want to learn and continue to contribute. That is kind of instilled in my children as well. So they are right now, Nicholas is an adult who's a firefighter, paramedic in Kansas City, has to continuously um, continuously keep his certifications up, continuously educate and learn, and then grow as well. And then Maya, who is our daughter, she has her pre-med degree, but she decided that is not her thing. And she sort of dove right into real estate investment, where she just actually passed her test today in real
Oh,
estate. Yeah,
congratulations, Maya.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm so happy for her.
Yes.
And, she's investing in homes and improving them and renting them out and learning along the way. So I think that is something that's instilled in us. And I think it makes us a lot happier just to continuously learn. But just learning is not enough. I think you have to share it with others, right? You can probably relate to this. You share it with others. That's the rewarding part of that. So I think to them it was just what they know, and that is what you do. It's not so much, climbing a ladder in terms of career. It's more so the impact that you're doing. Are you having fun? Are you really helping? Are you bringing value? And while you're doing that, then you're doing the right thing. If you're not, then look for something else, and that's will at some point probably cross that path, right? If I feel like
Yeah.
I'm not reading anymore. But yeah, that's what I would say.
Oh my goodness. Do we lose sight of that with, different avenues in our lives, different experiences, but for you to have that as your core and instilled in your DNA as that belief, and that knowledge that you're passing that on, it's just so beautiful.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, and your kids, they sound successful and happy, and you did a great job, mama.
You were just amazing. We have challenges too, but you work
Right.
on them, right?
Right, right. We learn from them, right.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so tell me what you're working on now. What's going on? I know that you're pretty busy.
Yay.
Tell us about
So
it.
yeah, so on the side, so I still work at Mayo Clinic, and on the side, what I'm doing is it's researching a topic that I will then hopefully publish a book about that's so close to my heart, and it's all about military spouses. It's strengthening the military spouses in a way that they no longer will have to struggle in terms of building their career while they are accompanying their spouses in their spouse's career development, and then really developing their own identity, and learning how you can take down barriers. So there's this part. So what I'm doing is the research uh, phase right now, and what I'm learning is there's these challenges, roadblocks along the way where military spouses, even if they wanted to, even if they wanted to work, it's very difficult to do that. They are highly educated because we have a lot of benefits that we can utilize in terms of financial assistance to get education. They're highly educated and they're highly skilled. And the skills that they develop along the way, from my perspective, they're change agents, they're creative problem solvers, they're risk managers, they're able to make quick decisions. They are masters of efficient process development because you definitely have to have that down.
Absolutely.
And they are emotionally as well as culturally intelligent because of the experiences that they're making. They're nimble, they're flexible. These are all great skills that lots of organizations are looking for in almost any type of positions today, like with especially in the digital transformation spaces. In fact, the department that I work for, every single position that we have would benefit from those skill sets. In addition to the technical skill sets that I'm calling, for example, for IT engineering, you should know how to code and things like that, right?
Mhm.
That is something you can learn in a
Oh,
class.
yeah.
Those other
Absolutely.
skills are acquired through experiences that our military spouses do. So I want to be able to highlight that. I want to be able to identify themes and opportunities where companies can actually understand what is it that they can do to help these spouses and benefit from them for their businesses. The reason being is that they're highly valued labor force, and but yet they have difficulties getting recruited due to certain things on their resume, like gaps and things like that. There are very good explanation for that. Um, but so that's what I'm trying to do with the book, highlighting those challenges. How can you easily navigate through some of the programs? For an example, if I'm a mental health provider in California as a military spouse, and I have my license there, but now my husband gets his orders and we have to move to Virginia, I am automatically not able to practice in Virginia, right? So what those individuals are looking for then, what is that step by step process that I have to go through to get my license renewed? And instead, what happens is they may go out to military one source. They click on one link, then they get to five additional links, then they get to three more links. And then by the time it's said and done, they're lost in the massive
Oh, yeah.
things. And they just don't, and they haven't made any progress. So time is valuable for anyone,
Absolutely.
even for our military spouses, and nobody wants to waste time. So I want to be able to identify those challenges and then provide some solutions that will not solve everything, but at least help solve some of the problems that military spouses have, and then also raise awareness in organizations that these spouses are highly educated and skilled. Let's give them a chance. So that's
Yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. Thank you for so much for your drive and commitment to that. That's gonna change so many lives. And,
thank you.
I know that you have had this amazing experience so far with your research, and very excited to hear your passion for it and to feel that and all the rest of the world because 'cause we're everywhere, spouses.
And I'm learning so much from these
Yeah.
spouses, I had that conversation with you too, Joanna, and I learned so much from you as well. It's just it's just amazing, just amazing. Just being able to interact with them, even though it's virtually, I just love it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thankfully, the technology is there for this. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Would you consider yourself supported by anyone or any resources that helped you, with your military community?
Absolutely. So I know s many of us have a lot of resources available, especially in the active duty. Those are a lot more clearer versus in the National Guard. But even in the National Guard, my experience has been that when you do have these family readiness groups, I think is what they call it, uh, take advantage of them. And again, I think there you have to kind of evaluate, okay, am I going there and benefiting from it? Meaning, or am I exposing myself to lots of negativity? Then you know how to remove yourself from them, or dramas or whatever the case might be. But it may also be an opportunity where you can actually help someone who has maybe not gone through it, right? So definitely, if those opportunities exist in your environment, take advantage of those. And some of us have very strong family as a support, and those are definitely, I love my family. My family has, even though they're far away, they have also come and helped whenever they can and stayed with the kids if I had to travel for an extended period of time. And or I sent my kids over to Germany over the summer, where that not, of course, that's a win-win. And
Oh,
not only
yeah.
am I getting help, but they are also learning the language and the culture there.
Absolutely.
And then the other thing, it's really in your own hands. If you're a military spouse and you're an introvert, which I am, you have to force yourself out of your shell and go reach out to individuals that you can build a network with. And that is just so important for a lot of different reasons. It's for personal primarily, because you can be of assistance to them. They can be of assistance to you if you ever need them in the event your husband is maybe in training or even deployed. So those are important. Build that network, and professionally goes the same way, right? I That's an important piece for me, and it may become more naturally to me just because I've been in that professional venue. But that is an important piece. The networking is what gets you ahead. Networking is what really creates those opportunities. And networking is just a part of the socialization, which makes people happy when you have that social engagement. So yeah, I guess my calling would be to those military spouses: go out there, don't be scared, participate in things that works for you, and not because your friend does or your neighbor does, because your situation might be unique. What works for me with my grown-up children, I might be able to be more flexible and go to different places and travel and network that way. But you, on the other hand, if you have two small children, three small children, you might want to seek a group of parents who are actually getting together, do play dates, and really socialize at that level, grown-ups as well as the children. So you're really helping yourself as well as your children. So absolutely take advantage of those opportunities.
Oh, absolutely. Those resources are out there. And like you said, Zilby, to work, do what works for you as a spouse, as an individual. What other words of hope for the future for the either military spouses or veteran spouses that are listening to today?
Yeah, so thank you for asking that question. Military spouses are the backbone of the military. And that is not, military is not going to go away, and it's super important to our country. What I would like our military spouses to do is speak up when you have the opportunity to speak up, whether you're using social platforms to do that, whether that is creating a community within your area to solve a particular problem that you see in your community. And even if maybe it's that problem that we're seeing where military spouses are unable to create that career for them. And there are some that are very successful. I'm not saying that there aren't, but you want to maybe increase that population of success within the military spouses. Participate, share your learnings on different platforms with your community. Speak up and don't be quiet. The military needs you, because if you're successful as a military spouse, your spouse will be successful and our country will be well served.
Well, thank you so much, Zilby. I love this episode and I love your time. Thank you for being you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. And best of luck with your book and your
Oh,
research.
yes, definitely. And thank you. And may I say one thing? If you are
Absolutely.
listening and you would like to share your story, your experience, whether you have a job right now or a career, does not matter, because those that don't have it have a lot to say. And so please reach out to me. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever you want to reach out. That would be wonderful. I would love to listen to you.
Yeah, and I'll put your links in the show notes below the episode.
Thank you so much, Ivana.
Thank you, Sylvie. Have a great day.
You too. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. What an amazing conversation that was. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise, your knowledge, and your skills with the Coaching the Brave community. We appreciate you so much. And for you listeners out there, if you enjoyed it and it really touched your heart and you thought of someone that it could benefit, share it with them. Thank you again for listening. I encourage you to review, check out my website as well, YovannaChase.com, and find me on Instagram and Facebook at Yovanna Chase Coaches. And I am here because I want to help you succeed. I want to help you be a more positive you. And right now, I'm doing a promotion where you will get a one-on-one holistic fat loss program. You can get a free 15-minute call with me. So if you head on over to my IG, under my bio, you can find that Calendly link where you can go ahead and sign up for that. I'm excited to speak with you in person, oh my gosh, through this Zoom virtual life here. So if you are interested or know someone who might be interested in losing 20 pounds in 90 days holistically, please share, sign up. And again, I cannot wait to talk with you next week. Have a wonderful week.